Boom, we're going. Okay. Boom. Hello, ladies, one of you, and gentlemen, all of you. Stay gentle, man. Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. We're going to do it in a different place tonight, here instead of there or over there. Why not? Because I've got something covering my hair. This is my old-fashioned bicycle helmet. They used to use this. It's a really good hat. In fact, I'd say it's a top hat. Anyway, apparently these were designed for horse riding, fox chasing, so that they had a flat top, so that like the branches wouldn't knock them off or something. So you knew where the branches were. Anyway, if the branch hit it, it would knock it off anyway, wouldn't it? Probably, anyway. Well, welcome to Wednesday Words here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in YouTube, Facebook and everywhere else, and live. I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. Let's get the show underway with our linguistic games. First, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we broadcast the Kamilaroi and the Banjo people, and acknowledge the continuing connection to the land of the elders past, present, emerging, and acknowledge sovereignty has never been ceded. All right, what have I got for you tonight? Personally, myself, I'm going to do Mulga Bill's Bicycle first of all, and a few little things that I've written during the week. That's pretty much all I've got for you here. Don't forget, we've got the Lamb and Potato Festival this week, and we've got every day here at 2 o'clock. There is Thundercloud's Australian Poetry Show, so get on down, check it out. We've also got coming up the Donnelly Comedy Hypnosis show on the 20th of January, and the Big Hairy Bush Dance Band Lamb and Potato Festival. Bush Dance at the end of the Lamb and Potato Festival. So, and that's all very, very, very exciting. I've been up there today. So get to Guyra, check out the Lamb and Potato Festival, and come to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame and check out some cool poetry too. All now, to get the show on the road, I'm going to start off with Mulga Bill's Bicycle by Banjo Paterson. I couldn't bring the bike down, but Risty's having a good time up there riding it, so I'll leave her with it.
Orgasm time.
Oh, Risty. Please. 'Twas Mulga Bill from Eagle Hawk that caught the cycling craze. He turned away his good old horse that served him many days. Dressed himself in cycling clothes, was splendid to be seen, and hurried off to town and bought a shiny new machine. And as he wheeled it through the door with air of lordly pride, the grinning shop assistant said, "Excuse me, can you ride?" "See here, young man," said Mulga Bill, "from Walgett to the sea, from Conroy's Gap to Castlereagh, there's none can ride like me. I'm good all round at everything, as everybody knows. Although I'm not the one to talk, I hate a man that blows. But riding is my special gift, my chiefest sole delight. Just ask a wild duck, can it swim? A wildcat, can it fight? There's nothing clothed in hair nor hide, or built of flesh or steel. There's nothing walks or jumps or run on axle or hoof or wheel. But what? I'll sit while hide will hold and girths and straps are tight. I'll ride this here two-wheel concern right straight away at sight." 'Twas Mulga Bill from Eagle Hawk that sought his own abode, perched above the Dead Man's Creek beside the mountain road. He turned the cycle down the hill and mounted for the fray, but ere he'd gone a dozen yards, it bolted clean away. It left the track and through the trees just like a silver streak. It whistled down the awful slope towards the Dead Man's Creek. It shaved a stump by half an inch that dodged a big white box. The very wallaroos in fright went scrambling up the rocks. The wombats hiding in their caves dug deeper underground. But Mulga Bill, as white as chalk, sat tight to every bound. It struck a stone and gave a had cleared a fallen tree, had raced beside a precipice as close could be, and then, as Mulga Bill let out one last despairing shriek, it made a leap of 20 feet into the dead man's creek. 'Twas Mulga Bill from Eagle Hawk that slowly swam ashore. He said, "Oh, I've had some narrow shaves and lively rides before. I rode a wild bull round a yard to win a £5 bet, but this is sure the darndest ride that I've encountered yet. I'd give that two-wheeled outlaw best I'd shaken all me nerve to feel it whistle through the air and plunge and buck and swerve. It's safe at rest in Dead Man's Creek. We'll leave it lying still. A horse's back is good enough henceforth for Mulga Bill." Yes, thank you very much. And big thank you to the Mr. Banjo Paterson there for that one. And here we are. It is Guyra Lamb and Potato Week. So I've been asked to write a poem about the Lamb and Potato Festival. So here we go. Here in Guyra, we've got lamb and potato. But don't forget the good old tomato. There's skewers, chops and roasted lamb, tomato relish and tomato jam. Baked, boiled, mashed, chipped potatoes, and every day tons of tomatoes. In the winter, there's snow about. In the creeks, there's rainbow trout. In Guyra, it's rural, but it's not that remote. There's Wagyu, Angus, and there's that smelly billy goat. Black swan nest when the lagoon is full. Crochet and knitting because there's lots of wool. Don't forget Burgess Car Museum. Many visit Guyra just to go and see them. There's wind, thunderclouds, both drought and rain, plus the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. Yes. The old convent garden, lamb and potato. But why, oh why, doesn't potato rhyme with tomato?
I want to say one.
Potato's gonna hate, potato's gonna potato. Hey, that's it. That's you can buy those, and don't forget, you go on the Poetry Hall of Fame website, AustralianPoetryHallOfFame.com.au. You can buy the t-shirts for the Lamb and Potato Festival. You can get one with a lamb on it or a potato on it. That's right. Or you can get one with a lamb and the potatoes. Yeah, it's many potatoes. Yeah. And they're all designed by me too, so even better. Yeah, and maybe we need a tomato shirt. Yeah. Or a tomato shirt. All right, I'm going to move on to a gratitude one that I wrote on 4 days ago. Apparently it says here, gratitude because I've got my old Facebook account back for the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame and the James Warren, and that means we'll get all the followers back online and on board too. So I've just got to migrate from the new account back to the old one and all that kind of stuff. So it'll take a few weeks, but anyway, it's all good. Okay, thanks for this life. Yeah, clean water, my head and skin, my body within, a soul to thrive. I'm alive. Thanks for family, my friends, the love life sends and fruit. My food is beauty, vegetables to eat. What a treat. Thanks for a bed. I'm warm. The moon, thunderstorm, and wealth of health, also birds, flowers, bees, and also trees. All the trees. Thanks for the hills, rivers, lakes, mountains, crocodiles and snakes, and reptiles, adventures, trials, challenges, and growth the most. Thanks for the bits I've missed, compliments and been dissed. All the mammals, including camels, meditation, go within and swimming. That's it. Yeah. And I might hear someone over there went swimming today. Yes, I did. Yes. It's really cool, actually. It was just lovely in the pool here in Guyra. All right. So that's it for what I've got to do right now. Ashley, would you like to come on up? Ashley Albanese, welcome.
Well, I've got a Chinese belt on. It's a good belt, but it hasn't got enough holes in it, so I'll be worried all through my rich formants that my pants will fall down. But that's been the story of my life. Here we have my friends, with another reference to China, actually. Hypothesis, implications, and parameters. And I bought these up in Lismore, where I've just been visiting. Not made from Richmond or Tweed timber, but from Chinese. Interesting so. I had many observations of Lismore while I was there in Mullumbimby, and I felt that it was strange to go up the steps of the Star Court Theatre and still be with those steps. The water came right up to the lip of the stage, so they didn't lose their very expensive, difficult machinery and gear to replace in this present economy. I thought I'd start by a short poem of Yeats and then tell a story, a short one that should go onto the record, because it happened to me 4 or 5 years ago at a Christmas get-together in Beatty Street Mall. I presume it's true, and it's a remarkable short tale. Anyway, without ado, I'll go back to the rivers and my 3 rulers, because I've lost the thread of my thought. So I'll improvise that I have a thread of thought. We live in a surprising world. The spies are spying on the spies, it seems. The walls have ears, but not the walls at the Guyra Poets' Hall of Fame. At Galway races, there where the course is, delight makes all of the one mind. The riders upon the galloping horses, the crowd that closes in behind. We too had good attendance once, hearers and hearteners of the work. Aye, horsemen for companions, before the merchant and the clerk breathed on the world with timid breath. Sing on! Somewhere at some new moon we'll learn that sleeping is not death. Hearing the whole earth change its tune, its flesh being wild, and it again crying aloud as the racecourse is, and we find partners among men that ride upon horses. Find partners among men that ride upon horses. I've given a lot of thought to Yeats lately, and if you go through the bulk of his poetry, there are so many poems where there are lists of men and women, either on the wall of art galleries or a catalogue of people who've come and gone from his life, who were teachers or missionaries or adventurers of one sort or another. And I realised that he wasn't only trying to bring them to life in the sense of contacting a spirit or going out with their spirit, but he was trying to find a group identity by bringing a set of people together as you would with El Greco in a painting, or Yeats in a poem. He was trying to bring a super set of people together who have a sort of super consciousness that can connect to us. Anyway, I don't know if I agree with all this, but I study Yeats because he's the opposite of me in some ways in philosophy. Now, is that true? Well, Freddie Nietzsche started shortening your moustache. Anyway, a short story. This happened. A woman said to me on a Christmas function in the mall, "Don't go, there's something I want to tell you." And she said that her dad was an engineer fixing a tank on the Italian peninsula, and a bullet went through his sleeve. There was a ridge line of German and Italian troops, and there was an Italian village down below him, Maggiore, or some particular Italian name, of course, didn't have an American one. And he called in a bombing strike on the ridge. A tank's an expensive piece of equipment, so he went on fixing it, and the bombing range came in and he took out the ridge, and he fought his way back to England. And just after the war, he had 3 daughters, I think. One, of course, was talking to me. He came to the little girls, the little blonde muppets, and he had a big glossy, I think they even had glossies in England of 48 or 49. He said, "Girls, do you want to go to Australia?" "Australia, Dad, Australia." And he said, "Yes, look." And she described how they looked down at this big photograph of Bondi Beach, beset with sun, not the fog of their world in London. And Dad said, "Oh, we can go, and you can have good food and entertainment and enjoy Australia. Let's go, Dad, let's go." And in that era, English people who were professors or doctors or engineers, we forget this now, they had access to Australia, and they could come and work and teach and develop the country, and then go back to Northern Europe if they wished. And there was virtually no paperwork or difficulties for this up to about mid-20th century. So that's in brackets, so to the end of the story. To the amazing end of the story. So they came to Australia, and her dad was in an engineering pool for government construction in Sydney. And I'm laughing because, oh boy, he was having a cup of tea or surrounded by Europeans drinking coffee, and he started telling the story of, "I'm a young engineer a few years back and the bullet went through my sleeve." And he went on with all the image, the ridgeline bomb, the little Italian village below him. And the German engineer opposite him piped up and said, "Yes, I was one of the fellows shooting at you." And he quoted the exact date and the name of the village. And he said, "You called in a bombing raid, and nearly all my troops were killed. I was the commander. Nearly all killed. And I went off to a hospital, fell in love with the English nurse, and came to Australia. They looked at each other, went out after work, and got drunk together." True story. There's another couple I'll tell over the next 6 months that I'm sure are true, equally amazing. One's even more startling. And as the young woman started to tell me this tale I'll do in a month or so, I thought, oh my God, because I'd read about it as a young boy. And I knew about her father as she started telling me this tale in the Talcum Hills 24, 25 years ago. So, that's me, full of a story. And the story of Lismore, I suppose. I was saying to people in the last days, perhaps children born at base hospital should be given some suntan lotion and a hat in one hand and a hose in the other, because they're going to be endlessly hosing out the mud in that Riverport city.
Yeah. At the moment, they're just giving an orchie bottle and a piece of hose, aren't they? Steve gets it. Steve's more. Actually, no, it's a little glass pipe. It's just jokes, folks. Just jokes. Don't take them seriously. Yeah. All right. Look, I have got a whole lot of jokes here, which I could do if you want, but look.
Give us some
Lismore jokes. Yeah. Kevin Hogan.
Oh!
You like that one?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you can leave it.
that.
I know. That's right.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. I told him he was racist one day.
Did you have a fight with him, did
Yeah, in the main street of Lismore.
you?
In the main street of Nimbin, actually, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I said that, I asked him, when are they going to, like, remove the capital gains incentive for, like, you know, extra houses, and when are they going to stop negative gearing? Oh, it's not us, he said, it's the Chinese buying all our houses. I said, you're racist. He said, oh, no, not just last week. I had dinner with Chinese. I said, yeah, well, that's like me saying, I know what Aboriginals think because I got Aboriginal friends. I said, you're racist. I got our conversation's finished and walked away. Just like that. It was funny. To be Zen, don't get a cat. Best piece of advice I've ever received is true and certain to be believed. Don't get a cat, the dying monks spoke. Don't get a cat or all your vows will be broke. And all that went around in the young monk's head was, don't get a cat, what the dying monk said. Well, the young monk went and he meditated on that. Then he came back and asked the lead monk, why don't get a cat? Well, many years ago, he gave his old life up. He left his wife, children, dog, family, and his gold cup. Came to the monastery, became a monk of Zen, meditated, fasted, changed his name of Ki Do Zen. Majored in compassion when along came a cat. He gave it some milk. It grew attached, and that was that. So that he could feed the cat, he got a cow, which took him out of the here and now. He didn't have as much time to meditate. Life as a monk with a cat and a cow, isn't that great? What happened next? The young monk said. Well, there was this woman whose husband was dead. The villagers suggested that she could assist, milk the cow, feed the cat, and then his meditation wouldn't be missed. Well, they fell in love, had a child, and now he had a wife. And everything that he left before in his old life was back. Wife, child, cow, no dog, but a cat. So the best advice, don't get a cat. And that's that. Don't get a cat. All right. So on that, there was, look, everything not saved will be lost. Thundercloud quotes, follow me for more life-changing advice. Don't want to get a woman pregnant? Use the rear entrance. Yep. To pick up women, it might be a bit hard, but make sure you bend at the knees. All right? Don't put your finger where you wouldn't put your penis, and vice versa. For safety on a long journey, always weave a bit all over the road and people will stay a long way from you. To make eggs taste better, just add butter, flour, a little salt, sugar, chocolate and bacon. And if you're a single female and haven't had sex for a while, I can cure that. Right. Please like and share for more life-changing advice. And leave a comment if you've got any questions. If it looks stupid, it doesn't work, then it's stupid. Yes. To save over 60% on groceries by skipping 2 meals a day. Use a permanent marker to draw new tread on bald tyres. It's very easy, you've got to do those little zigzag things all around them. Go naked in public to get arrested. Yes, great advice. God even loves ugly people, which is why so many were made. And when you buy new electrical appliances, because we've just had Christmas, make sure that you put the boxes out the front of your neighbour's house so you don't get robbed, alright? It's very important. And when you see someone crying, just ask them, does it hurt when you pee? A hoodie, well, it makes a great vomit catcher, especially if someone else is wearing it. And when you put too much water in your rice, you know the best solution? Just throw in a few mobile phones. Yep, this would be very good for that. Lose your bookmark, just use a piece of chewing gum. And you know that annoying beeping noise in your car? You can stop that by just cutting your seatbelt buckle off and then plugging it into the seatbelt, and it never goes on again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a great hack, isn't it? You love that one. Yeah. All right. Put a banana through a donut, and you've got a banana flavoured donut. Even better. Don't kick an echidna in thongs. Don't kick an echidna in sneakers either. Kick an echidna wearing steel cap boots.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I've never seen an echidna in thongs, sneakers or steel cap boots. But anyway, right, take your underpants off before ironing them, Larry. And if you follow any of my advice, please do not have children. Thank you very much.
Too late.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, if there was a few more.
It's too late for him too.
It's too late for me, I know. What about, have you got anything tonight, Larry? No? All right, well, Steve's here, and I know Steve's got something for us today. All right. Welcome, Steve Wordsmith.
Thank you, James. What a great show. Fabulous. Done a great job, James. You too, Ashley. Wonderful stories.
If you will listen, a tale I will tell of a journey val heaven and a travail val hell. Come hearken, my good folk. Hear my attitude to the journey through the cosmos to heavenaloo. Come lay down your burden, come whimsic with me. With fair fawn and child folk adventure all we. Thou come wise in wonder to respond to in kind. Afore life's almighty journey wander and winds, a wisp, future past, and flashing your topsoil, I bind to the mast. It's always good to come into the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame and see how wonder happens and the things that happen in this magical place. We live here in wonder. We live here in the making of magic and the weaving of dreams. When you open up your eyes to realise the real eyes and realise the real eyes, there's plenty real eyes in life. But I have to stand and believe that all people alive have some talent. From where it comes, it's not known. Some sing and dance or act out romance. It's a part of your life, like a poem. When telling a joke is your forte, or telling the humour of life, or painting a beautiful landscape, or serenading the friends in your life. Yes, talent's a part of our makeup becomes natural in the things that we do. Not always in the things expected, and not always in the things that we choose. See, I haven't been around the world, but I've been around the block, and I don't know it all, but I do know a bloody lot. I don't have a house or a place of abode. Well, I do have a place. It's under the stage there.
Bravo!
I don't have a house but a place of abode. I spend most of my time on the side of the road. I'm an outback poet, just moving around with my heart in the bush and my feet on the ground. I've travelled this land from the top to the bottom. I've been to the Murray, I've seen the cod rotten. I've travelled from east and I've travelled from west. I've travelled with zeal and I've travelled with zest. You know that I'm eccentric and you know that I'm quite weird. You know that I wear rainbow and I have a long white beard. But if you judge the book by the cover and you don't listen to my words, you'll miss the Spirit's message by thinking I'm absurd. A couple of Australian poems which we are known for here in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I remember this little poem from a fella called Jack Hall, I think. He was a poet I saw at one stage, and I thought that's a nice story. And it tells of the truth, and it tells of it's got some of the interesting words like Swai, which was a Sydney suburb at the turn of the century. Mitchellhauser, which is a German machine gun, and Bundi, which is an Aboriginal or Indigenous throwing stick or hitting instrument. I met him first near Warren, working on a starved-out farm. He was skeletor and sallow, lean of shank and long of arm, wide lips and flared-out nostrils that bespoke his native blood, a battler, scratching hard existence in this land of drought and flood. But he won a tight survival chasing rabbits day and night. He had no gun, no ammunition. Used to knock 'em out and fly with a waddy for a weapon. Junk or rock was just the same. And he'd grab that groggy bunny and he'd say, that was deadly aim. Seldom off his target gave those spielers a little rest in them knock-em sock-em alleys in the showground out the west. The day that I enlisted, he was standing next to me, and I heard him tell the captain that his name was Darky Lee. Oh, often quiet and moody, lonely in a crowd, no doubt, or perhaps the dipper colour made him feel the odd man out. But he was a willing soldier, and a dinkum copper too. Like the night the MP's quarters at that Swai game in the loo. Yes, he nailed that provost sergeant cold as any side of meat, with a well-aimed whiskey bottle at the range of 20 feet. Mighty quick we were escaping, and I heard our mate exclaim, as we scarpered through the alleys, fellas, that was deadly aim. Then our mob embarked for service to a land across the sea, where the final call awaited for that bloke called Darky Lee. It was at the Flanders dust-up at a place called Blardner's Court. We copped a bad position. Yeah, men cut off without support, and that enemy machine gun keeping up a steady fire, safe and sound in there encamped and behind barricade and wire. Flat we lay like bloody lizards on that piece of shell-raked plain, and that enemy machine gun pelted lead like summer rain. Well, our choice was die like heroes, or the white surrender flag. When our officer decided it was time to sky the rag, take your choice, a German prison, or a group of unmarked mounds, when this bloke goes racing past me like a hare before the hounds strike me blue, but it was Darky, like an emu crouching low. In his right hand was a grenade, swinging ready for the throw. No cover to protect him, dashing, daring as you please. Where those Mitchellhausers chattered, and the bullets hummed like bees, and fair into that enemy gun pit, he dispatched his first grenade. Screams were heard from brave men dying as that scarlet blossom burst. Then he sent him up another just as quickly as the first, German gunner or a rabbit. It was all the same to our champion Bundi Chopper. He maintained his deadly aim. Then a dying spurt of gunfire rang the bell on Darky Lee. By the time the medics got there, he was very nearly gone, though his belly parts were punctured, his heart was hanging on. And in final grief we listened to the gasp that shook his frame, and the final words he uttered, fellas, that was deadly aim. Just another unsung hero,
gone unhallowed and unsung, one of many number when the final curtain rung. Native son with small ambition, oh, our heart's decree. A soldier in the true tradition, rest untroubled, dark Lee. Well, it's always good not to finish off with something that's down and out, but those people were dying for us many years ago, and we take our hats off to them. I don't have a hat at the moment, but thanks, James, for the hat. It's in the lamb and the potato festival time, and we have shearers and people around here, so we better tell a shearing story. There once was a shearer by the name of Bluey the Brink. He was a devil for work and a devil for drink. He could shear his 200 a day without fear, and drink without winking 4 gallons of beer. Now Jimmy the barman who served out the drink, he just hated the sight of here Bluey the Brink. He stayed much too late and he came much too soon, in the morning and the night and the daytime and at noon. Well, one day when Jimmy was cleaning the bar with sulphuric acid that he kept in a jar, old Bluey come yelling and bawling with thirst. Whatever you've got, Jim, just give me the first. Well, it ain't in the histories and it ain't put in print, but Bluey drank acid with never a stint. Said, that's the stuff, Jimmy, will strike me stone dead. That'll make me the ringer of Stevenson shed. Well, all that long day as he served out the beer, poor Jimmy was worried with his troubles and fear. Too worried to argue, too anxious to fight. All he could see was this corpse in his fright. Well, early next morning as he opened the door, along came the shearer. He was yelling for more, with his eyebrows all singed and his whiskers deranged, and holes in his hide like a dog with the mange. Said, Jimmy, and how'd you like that new stuff? Said Bluey, it's fine, but I ain't had enough. It gave me great courage to shear and to fight. But every cough set me whiskers alight. I thought a new drink, but I must have been wrong, for what you gave me was proper and strong. It set me to coughing, and you know I'm no liar, but every cough set my whiskers on fire. And just another little one from this area around here, you know, because we've, you know, we live around the Guyra area and the catchment areas of the Clarence River, and up here in Guyra, it's right at the top of the mountain, and we're known for being cold and things like that. But by the sluggish River Guyra lived this wicked red-backed spider, who was just about as vicious as could be. Now the place he made his camp in was this Rusty Jones's jam tin, in a paddock near the showground at Moree. Well, here he made his shearer snoozing. He'd been drinking beer and boozing all the night before and all the previous day. And the cooking of the cookers and the noise of the Showtown spruikers failed to raise him from the trance in which he lay. Well, there came this crafty-looking spieler with a dainty-looking shield. They were collecting wood to make a fire, and he said, there's a boozer, and he's going to be a loser. If he isn't, you can christen me a liar. Well, you just stand and take me, honey, while I fan this mug for money, and we'll have some dainty luxuries for tea. But she said, don't be silly. You go back and boil the pilly. You can safely leave this mug to little me. Well, she circled ever nearer to that dopey-looking shearer, his pockets bulging fast asleep and snug. But she never saw the spider that was circling round beside her. She was too busy with the money and the mug. Well, the spider needed dinner. He'd been daily growing thinner. He'd fasted long and for a feed to yearn. When she reached that shearer's pocket, he darted like a rocket and he bit that spieler's Sheila on the stern. Well, the Sheila started squealing. Her clothes she was unpeeling. To hear her yells would make you feel forlorn. While one hand on the bite was pressing, the other was undressing. and she reached the camp the way that she was born. Well, the shearer, pale and haggard, he'd back to town he staggered, where he caught a train and he gave the booze a rest. But you'll never know the spider that was living by the Guyra and saving 90 smackers of the best. Thank you very much. It's always good to be here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. We'll see you around if you want to come down to the matinees at 2 p.m. during the Lamb and Potato Festival. We're on down here. See you later. Have a great night.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Every day, Wednesdays through to Sunday, 2 o'clock, the Lamb and Potato Festival, Thundercloud's Australian Poetry Show right here. So yeah, get in here and check it out. I got 3 more left for you. They are, well, a couple that I wrote last year that I've recovered. One of them is If Poetry Were a Colour. The other one's a dedication to the poets. And a little one about Mary, who I wrote this morning. Hey, this hat's pretty good. Yeah. If poetry were a colour, it would be a multifaceted rainbow. Red sunsets of beauty and anger, pristine white as falling snow, orange of the desert plains, yellow like the sunflowers, changing hues of fiery flames, grey clouds bringing showers. Magenta like a summer rose, ochre like the land and sand, peacock tails when they pose, emerald green forest stand. Azure blue as a clear sky, turquoise of a tropical sea, eucalyptus blue and green, changing coloured maple tree. Pink of the cherry blossoms, pinkish orange of a peach, tea stains on teacup bottoms, a golden sandy beach, the browns of nightingales, soft purple lavender hues, blues of the blue whales, wisteria and burnt bamboo, pastel green and also mint, the liquid black of writing ink. Don't forget baby pink, poetry's a rainbow to make you think. Thank you. And this is one that I was inspired in my meditation in that room in there, surrounded by all the poet portraits. I spoke with a plethora of deceased poets, poets that are dead. I asked a question of 1,000 poets, and this is what they all said. We support you, but we're not alive. You need to do what you must do. Tell the world about us and you'll thrive. 1,000 poets said this is true. I thank the dead poets for their poetry and the people like me inspired by planting a seed and growing a poetry. Poets' words remain after they've retired. 1,000 dead poets surround me, their poetry archived and preserved. Packets of seeds to grow poet trees. 1,000 future poets I have also served. That's I do have a few more, but I'm not going to do them all because there's only really one more I feel like doing because it's kind of cool. And actually, writing this one this morning, I wrote sort of 3 stanzas and then I wrote another one and then I had to cut and paste and move one around like this and juggle them around. It's probably the most editing that I've done with a poem for a very long time. In fact, I rarely edit any poems apart from spelling mistakes and a bit of punctuation. They're usually just straight off the bat. But this one was, anyway, it got finished in one sitting, so that's the main thing. We got 6 stanzas. There's sort of, well, they're not in couplets because they're sort of quatrains with rhyming quads actually. Mary loved flowers, and she moved from Mississippi to Texas in a VW combi, and her father was a hippie. Her mother taught art of things looking trippy. Mary loved makeup, especially bright red lippy. In her spare time, she helped her daddy grow turf. Mary loved surfing, and on Saturday she'd go to the surf. Pack a picnic with a sandwich, Kool-Aid and a peach, head off for a surf at the local surfing beach. There was a lot of things that Mary never said. She had so much frustration bottled up in her head. At school, there was a bully, and she wished he was dead. She'd walk home with teary eyes which were red. Mary was given a gun when she was only 1. She loved bull riding, fishing, and hunting with a gun. At school, there was a bully who thought it was fun to pinch and poke her, call her names, and also slap her bum. When Mary had had enough of the bullying little runt, she took her gun to school and she had a bully hunt. She cornered him and bludgeoned him with a brick that was blunt, and the last sound the bully made was a grunt. Mary was a girl, and butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. She loved surfing, hunting, and she lived in the deep south. This is pretty much, though, the story, the end of our Mary's tale. She's now in the penitentiary because she's locked in jail. Yeah, anyway, poor old Mary, she could have held a temper, eh? She had gone about it a bit more subtly. Bludgeoned him when not get caught, yeah. Anyway, all right, well, usually I end on a happy note, but not tonight. That's a kind of a pretty morbid kind of a poem, isn't it, really? It is quite, but, well, this is a bit of a funny one. Here we go. This one's from December 2022. I think did I do this last week? I don't know. All right, this is about a couple of trolls. You wouldn't know. In a cave, yeah, I did do it last week, I'm sure. In a cave in the middle of a mountain lived 2 weird trolls who had a very large collection of Cabbage Patch dolls. Their names were Billy O'Adam and Don Snot, and were tattooed on the backs of their hands because they often forgot. In the night, they leave some of their dolls in the forest as bait to lure fairies to come and be their guest. Then they trap them and take them home in a crate and eat them for breakfast because fairies taste great. Especially when they're served with a little bit of honey. It sweetens the taste of clown fairies, which taste a little bit funny. Billy O'Adam likes to boil fairies in the water. Don Snot eats them raw, alive, because that's the way he oughta. Thank you very much. Right. Okay, well, that's it from me here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, unless Ashley's got something else.
I was going to do it.
Yes. Well, Ashley does, and then Larry's got to do something. Okay.
Well, I was looking at this resolute young lady on her push bike, and I wrote this ditty, Victorian Girl's Odyssey. Well, she's not dressed like a Victorian girl, but who knows what they got up to when they were reading Oscar Wilde down in the shrubberies. Victorian Girl's Odyssey. No one taught me about sex, but on the saddle of my push bike, I discovered some.
Oh, I like to push bike. I can see you having fun.
Okay.
Oh, I remember that laugh.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you very much, Ashley. If you like, subscribe, comment, give it a thumbs up, leave us some comments, and share it with your friends, please, because that helps our analytics as well. So, Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you next Wednesday. And every day here Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And thank you very much.